now we've been looking at seated guard entrances into the front triangle. Let's just talk briefly about foot penetration and knee penetration. We're not going to be drilling this, but just as long as you're aware of the concept. So let's just say you make a 2-on 1-on car. We've already covered this. I have the foot on hip. Notice the way in a seated position I have an unweighted leg and it's my foot that comes over Carl's shoulder, and then I get into the triangle trap, and then I can finish the front triangle. So from our position, I have a 2-on 1, foot goes in the hip, I have an unweighted leg, and now it's my foot comes over the shoulder, I get into the triangle trap, and then we finish as before. Okay, that's foot penetration. Knee penetration is when I'm in the supine position. Okay, so say Car's got me flat on my back. Notice the way from this position, there's no way I can actually, unless I'm a contortionist or something, I can bring my right leg over his shoulder. So I'd be swimming to get inside control, I'd be cutting an angle, and instead of my foot entering first, my knee comes in first. Does that make sense? And then I'd have to cut an angle to bring my foot over, and we're back into the triangle trap. Danaher took half an hour to explain that, but just as long as you're aware of it. So when would I do one and when would I do the other? Anybody? You didn't get it? If there's distance between us, alright? So in other words, if I'm in a seated guard position, and there's distance between me and Carl's chest, I have space to go over for foot penetration first. Obviously, if he has me in the supine position, now we're chest to chest. There's no way I'm going to go for foot penetration, so I have to now go for knee penetration first. Okay, so really that's all you need to know. The time and place for foot penetration is when you're in a seated guard and there's space between your chests. If we go supine position, when I'm flat on my back and it's chest to chest, then it's knee penetration. Which brings us into what we're going to do tonight, which is the clamp position. Anyone that was here a few years ago when we did Danaher's closed guard gi system, we have already covered this. But you'll find in his systems there's a lot of crossover between different systems. So let's just look at the kind of no gi variation of this. We will look at concepts first, controlling, how to control from the position, and then we'll look at entrances in the next move. Let's just say I'm carelessly flat on my back, and we're here, okay? So first thing I'm thinking about is I need to get inside control. Notice the way Carl's got his limbs inside mine. So if I just re-pummel in with my right hand and keep it on my hip, Carl just re-pummels at me, and it just becomes Groundhog Day, okay? So the detail is, I bring my hand in and I keep it high towards my face and my elbows tucked. And then I re-swim in and I keep it high towards my face. Now I have inside position. In other words, my arms are inside his. From there, I'm just going to get control of the head and the arm. And now from here, I need to move from being flat on my back to shrimping onto my right hip. So I can place my foot on the mat. I'm going to invert my right knee so it's actually pointing towards the mat and my toes are pointing towards the mat. From that position now, I'm going to weave my right knee in front of Carl's left shoulder and I put my right foot on his left hip. So I have one knee in front, the second knee comes behind the armpit, and again I'll put another foot on the hip. So notice the way now Carl is in the one arm in, one arm out scenario, and his head and arm is between my legs. Okay. Once I'm there, my left hand controls posture, and my left elbow goes elbow to elbow on Carl. Let's look at the pressures Carl can do on me. If he starts driving into me, my right knee keeps him at distance. Okay. If he starts backing away, my left thigh underneath his right armpit keeps me connected to him. If he tries to posture, my left hand's keeping him there. Now I'm not just pinching with my knees, that's using my weaker adductors. I'm actually using a scissoring effect. So my left knee's coming towards my head as my right knee's pushing back. And as Carl tries to disengage from this position, withdraw his hand. I'm keeping him in that clamp position. Okay, now we need to extract their leg. We have used knee penetration, but on knee penetration I still need to bring my foot over his left shoulder. How do I do that? I need to cut an angle. So watch, I just arch my body so I'm looking into his right ear, and then my left foot that was on his hip is going to come over and go in front of his left shoulder. This allows me to extract the leg, triangle trap, and we're back into the same sequence we've been doing. I've got a posture hand, a scooping arm, I'm going to cut an angle, I'm going to get my lower back off the mat, and now I make the junction above his head. Let's take a look at that again, bro, just from there. So, we're starting off flat on our back. No particular guard, we'll look at entrances in the next move. So I'm going to swim one hand inside and I bring it high. I don't do both at the same time. Okay, from this position, it's one with a high hand, George tries to re-pummel. Second one comes in with a high hand. Now my arms are on the inside. I just control the head, control the tricep, and now I need to get onto my side so I can plant my foot on the mat. I'm going to invert my right knee. Notice the way my knee's pointing towards the mat, I'm on my side and my toes are pointing towards the mat. Car tries to disengage from there, my frames keep him in place. Once I'm there now, I just push and bring my knee in front of his shoulder and my foot's on his hip. So that's the one in front. Second knee comes up, I put it on the hip, and that's the one behind. And now we want this scissoring of our legs. So my left knee comes towards me as my right knee pushes away, controlling Car's posture, and I have another hand if I need it. If I feel I'm really losing it, I can start. Another thing Carl might want to do is bring his head towards me. Notice the way when he does that, I was on my side, he's actually flattening me out, so sometimes I might just push in his head like that. Again, we can go into omoplatus and stuff from here, but the theme is triangles. So once I can keep that position, so we want you to get into this position, your partner's going to try and drive into you. The knee in front of the shoulder keeps him from closing distance. He tries to back away. My knee that's behind his armpit keeps me connected. He tries to posture. If I need to, I can use my second hand. I have an arm over my hip and his head is between my legs. And when the moment's right, I'm going to cut an angle, so I'm looking into his ear. I'm going to bring my foot that was on the hip and put it on his shoulder to extract my bottom leg, and then we're into the triangle trap, and then we just finish as we have normally done. One more time. So I'm in a supine position, which means foot penetration isn't going to happen. I have to use knee penetration. One hand comes in and goes high, second hand comes in and goes high. I get head control and tricep control. I'm flat on my back, I need to get onto my side. So I'm going to open my legs, put my foot on the hip, shrimp onto my right side, and my knee is facing the mat and so are my toes. That allows me to get the angle to bring my knee in front of one shoulder and my knee comes behind. Both feet go on the hips, and now we do that scissoring action with our legs. Car's trying to move from that position. I'm keeping my angle, staying connected. And when the moment's right, now I need to bring my right foot over his left shoulder. So to do that, I cut an angle so I can look into his right ear. Foot comes over the shoulder, I extract the bottom leg, we're into the triangle track, and then we lock the triangle. Okay, let's draw that, guys.